All right, welcome to another episode of Warrior versus Zombie. And as always, I have an amazing warrior guest to introduce to you in a second. But before we do that, let me tell you why you're here. Success is a journey, it's not a destination. As warriors, we all have a history of ups and downs, wins and losses. They're all part of making us who we are up to this point, and they provide a foundation for our path forward. In each episode, we interview warriors who are aspiring leaders from all walks of life, entrepreneurs, artists, health practitioners, business owners, literally any inspired leader that has a story to tell. These warriors have a cause, they have unique value and a vision that goes generations into the future, and today's guest is no exception. Sheri Dumond is an awesome warrior. She's a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and an ultimate business mentor for high-performing professional women in network marketing. Her 25-year journey includes success in the pharmaceutical industry with her strategic approach, taking small ventures and building multi-million-dollar network marketing divisions. And in 2022, she left the corporate world and now focuses on mentoring full-time in her Confident Warriors, I love the warrior name, of course, business where she inspires and helps her clients to scale their businesses quickly and effectively. Sheri is dedicated to empowering others, and her expertise in network marketing make her a sought-after mentor in the industry. Sheri Dumond, welcome to Warrior versus Zombie. How are things in Oregon today?
Hey, David. Thank you. Things in Oregon are great. It's going to be a beautiful 80-degree day. And although I will say we are in the high desert, so it was 40 degrees this morning. And my tomatoes and my basil are not liking this cold weather.
You mentioned high desert. I think that's fascinating because Lee Smith, my warrior guest in episode 115, she's in the high desert. She's in Reno.
Okay.
So essentially in the same kind of, meteorological type of place. So yeah, she was saying the same thing. It was a little chillier than that, but so it's going to get up to 80, and the plants need a little warmer to flourish. So what else is going on in your world? So you've got, as I do, I've got my 3 granddaughters here today. So for those listening to the podcast, if you hear a little bump and screaming in the background, don't panic. It's just life. That's what we do. We're real. Warriors are real. Warriors are on a journey. We're not fake. We're not, we have life in today's world. Doing things from our home office or whatever is always a great thing. And I know in the network marketing space, having built some teams and done that myself in the past, I'm sure you have a lot of folks under your warrior consulting that have to have the same kind of things to juggle, let's put it that way, especially the women warriors that you mentor. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, there's always juggling. I have my network marketing business of my own, as well as my consulting business and helping people build their network marketing businesses. So, it's always a juggle. This week, in fact, tomorrow, I'm doing a health fair here locally, a vendor event. I love vendor events. So I am spending my day or this afternoon putting my booth together. I will be working that booth, unfortunately, by myself because my teammate who was coming out to work with me from Minnesota got COVID. So it's 2,000 people. I will be busy tomorrow, but as always, I put on my tiara and run with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, life happens, and as we just said, so well, that's fascinating. We'll probably hear a little bit more about some of that, what you're doing today when we get into the third segment. But I want to do this. I want to make sure we have plenty of time to hear your story. So we're going to take a quick break. For the audio audience, you're going to hear a little of our theme song. It's Not the Getting There from Ricky Jean Wright. And then after we come back, we're going to hear Sheri Dumond's story in Warrior versus Zombie. All right, we are back, and Sheri, I'm looking forward to this. You came out of from what I can tell, looking at your background and our conversations before, came out of the corporate world, retired. I retired 18 years ago from the corporate world, so I've been doing that for a bit. So tell me a little bit. How did you get from where you started, and that can go back a ways because we want to
Yeah.
understand the zombies you've overcome. So tell me, how did you get from where you started to where you are today?
Well, taking on a lot of zombies and being a warrior. I started carrying a bag for a pharmaceutical company in 1980 or 1998. And that was a great learning experience. I worked my way through pharmaceuticals, got recruited over to doing clinical trials in labs. I was the business development, so I would go out and get the business from pharmaceutical companies to run their specimens in our lab. I got really good at that. And I got really great at building teams there. And so that just naturally progressed to where I was going into big companies and starting new divisions for them, doing that exact same thing. My corporate job had a change in some management. And so it divorced me in November, which was a blessing because I had my consulting business, I had my network marketing business. I just combined those with my corporate background and said, I am going for this. I am not going to live and die by someone else's decision.
I love that. You've hit on a few zombies that a lot of warriors listening to the podcast will relate to. First of all, the unplanned exit from a particular, it can be planned or unplanned, by the way. Both are zombies. You know, you can say, I'm going to do this, but I can guarantee you, even if it's a plan, you know, we make our plans and then God laughs. So those challenges are always going to be there. But it sounds like you had kind of dug your well a little bit before you were thirsty, which I love in terms of, you know, your journey and even in the corporate world. And I understand that. I totally understand. Retirement for me is doing what I want, when I want, with who I want, where I want. And it's for sure not doing nothing. If anybody saw me today, and probably you, they would say she's as busy as she ever was, even though she's not in the corporate world, probably even busier in some respects. So tell me a little bit about, I get the zombie of overcoming. Tell me a little bit more about some of the challenges that you've experienced, zombies as we call them in this podcast, both in your mindset. That there's also that overcoming the, oh, I don't have a regular paycheck kind of thing, per se. I mean, you've got other income streams. Sounds like you've got more than one, which is beautiful. Gives you a little bit of buffer for that. But talk to us a little bit about that.
It does give a little bit of comfort, but it is a challenge. I spent 25 years in that corporate mindset. And I always, since 2015, knew I wanted to break out of that and figure out what I wanted to do next. It was, how do I do that? And it really was a very big zombie that was staring me in the face. Was my dad went into ICU. He was not going to make it. And I saw him as an entrepreneur. Sorry, we have life, and I have a pup who was at my feet, and now she thinks that there's zombies at the door.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah. And so, he was an entrepreneur for 30 years, and he never, ever enjoyed his life. And I was like, life is too short not to enjoy it. And he may have all the money in the world, but I want to enjoy my life. And I was not enjoying what I was doing anymore. So figuring out, which path I want to go to. And I just stepped back and looked at when I was the most joyous in my life. And it was coaching my teams, building my teams, enjoying the people I was around. I am a people person. I like people. I I thrive off of that. So how do I do that, and how do I incorporate that? And network marketing has always been part of my life. I was in network marketing when I was 17 years old. Anyone
Wow.
remember Princess House Crystal? I did not flip burgers in high school. I went to and did parties for Crystal and fit my personality. I got to get dressed up and enjoy what I was doing. And then, so it's always been there for me. But I joined a new company. Actually, last month was 1 year ago, and it really brought out with who I connected with the most. And I chose the company because I loved, love, love their products, but I also love their values. And their values, are really based on being kind to each other and really treating each other with respect and empowering women. And that is everything my brand has always stood for. And I just was like, yeah, I really like this. This is fun. It makes me happy and it puts a smile on my face every day. And I want to help other people succeed in my company and other companies, because most network marketing companies, they get you to buy products. Some don't even have a fee. You just buy products and they say, go sell them on the internet. Well, we all know that doesn't work. Cold DMing is dead. How are you going to sell this? You may not have, I don't have a big family friends list. So where am I going to get the leads? Because without leads, you don't get sales and you don't get teammates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that also always creates a challenge. As I say, everybody shows up, and whether it's regardless of what you call it. First of all, you said a couple things there that I think we ought to amplify in your story. One is that you've had the experience since 17. So the barrier of getting into that type of business, and by the way, that's the biggest challenge, is it is a business.
Mm-hmm.
It legitimately is a business. It may be easier to get into than buying a brick and mortar franchise or some of the other things where you have to invest and really have to be committed. So you can get in and you can put your toe in the water even at 17 years old, right? And you can continue down that path. The challenge is you've got to get over this consumer mentality and employee mentality that most people enter that space into, and realize that it's a business mentality. And so values are important, values that represent you, whether you're in the corporate world or you're in a network marketing business or any other type of business, a franchise, any of that kind of stuff. So it is really important. It is a business. And so that zombie, overcoming that and realizing that this is a business, it's just not, I love the products, and so I'm going to buy the products and everybody else is going to love them too. That is a misconception. So in your personal journey or in some of the challenges, because again, as an entrepreneur, even as a mom of any kind or grandmother or anything, there's life, right? There's all kinds of things going on. What other kinds of challenges or zombies have you found yourself overcoming in that 25-year journey?
Well, we had a busy life when the kids were young, so that was always a journey. We actually picked up and moved away from our kids 12 years ago and our grandkids. Most people don't do that, but we had an opportunity to come someplace that we really loved coming, and we always said we'll retire here. Well, I got recruited here, so my corporate life led me here. But it's just a balance between, spending all day working on businesses and marketing and running my team and doing this and doing that, and juggling, well, I've got to go figure out how to get groceries, and I've got to, what's for dinner, and I'm a planner, so I plan things out. Those are daily zombies for me. How am I going to clean up after I have 3 animals? So I'm a pet mom too. So, or take the dog to daycare so she can go play, so I can have some more time to work on my business. So it's always a journey.
Well, I got to tell you, it's you kind of gloss over it or kind of dismiss it, but I'm going to tell you right now, having some clients, female clients, because I'm a guy, as I shared with you earlier in our discussions, I've got 4 daughters, 4 granddaughters. You know, God has a sense of humor. He taught me how to be a good guy, a good man, I hope. And one of the things is I have a lot of women clients, and one of the things is just what you described. Those zombies of, okay, I can do all this stuff. I can really even be very inspired about whether it's your network marketing or your corporate pursuit or your franchise or the job you have. You can feel like you need to focus, but you always got to come back home. You got to come and make sure dinner's on the table, make sure the kids are getting their homework done, you know, all those kinds of challenges. So I'm sure as you're working with confident warriors and coaching a lot of these women, I'm sure that's a pretty standard challenge or zombie that they have to overcome as well. Because I think that there are guys like myself that we are a team, however, doesn't dismiss or eliminate the zombie that you've described. So what else have you encouraged, or how did you know, or you've encountered? Not encouraged.
Well, I actually want to come back to a team, because it is a team. You know, I could not do this without a wonderful, supportive husband who, like this weekend, he knows what I'm going to be doing. I'm probably going to be exhausted when I come home tomorrow. So, you know, figuring out how he can pick up the mantle and run with it for the weekend while I'm off wearing my tiara. So, you know, it is a team. It's a team effort, and it wouldn't happen. And it's always been a team effort. Can you do this? You know, we take team each other all day long, and it couldn't happen without it. But one thing I found that really helps make me productive is time blocking. So, you know, our brains cannot absorb more than 45 minutes at a time. So I try to take 15 minutes every hour to get away from my desk, actually move my body. That could be, you know, cleaning up the house a little, or doing this or doing that, or going for a walk with the dog. I always try to do that, and I block out time of what my tasks are for the day, because I know if I don't, not everything is going to get done on that list. And that list is long most days.
Well, I love it. Absolutely. In fact, it's kind of ironic because that's one of my go-to first steps, if you will, with every client that I have, including, by the way, client for me is a little different than some people define it, because I do monetize some of my clients. But if I'm serving you in any capacity in my network or in my family, from that standpoint, you are a client, because you're taking my most valuable asset, which is my time. So if I'm allocating my time to you, featuring you on the podcast, supporting you in your networking, or coaching you in one-to-one sessions. So I get that. I mean, you're working through those things, but you said something really important. A lot of one of the biggest zombies we think about is we do things by ourselves as an entrepreneur, or a solopreneur, or a small business owner, just getting started. And so you mentioned that your home team includes your husband, and that's a beautiful thing. But business is a team sport, and life is a team sport. And we can't forget and let that zombie come in and get us distracted, right? We got to do it all ourselves. I love the other thing about time blocking, because that's where you said something that I always say, is that break those things down and make sure that self-care is at the top of that list of a time block. It's easy to get consumed by, especially as entrepreneurs, but it's for any of us, it's easy to get consumed by things that aren't of our intention, right? So your ideal day, I talk about my ideal day. It's not Groundhog Day. It's not the same day. It's not, even if it's vacation, it's not the same day every day, right? You're designing that day. You're blocking that time. Might be a whole week, might be a few hours, might be 45 minutes out of the hour. So that's beautiful. That's a really powerful zombie to overcome in your journey. What else have you encountered along the journey, or are we getting to today?
No, there's lots of zombies in there. There's lots of zombies, but you know, the other thing too is I have a long commute when I go, usually even to take the dog to daycare. When I go in, it's 45 minutes. So taking that time to educate yourself. Don't don't just put on the radio. I mean, I love singing and I love dancing, but use that to educate. I know that with my network marketing company, we have
Mhm.
so much education that it's 60 years of education. I couldn't get through all of it if I wanted to, but um, I don't, most people do not take the time to find mentors and people who can help them grow.
Mhm.
And I'm all about growth. It could be with my company, it could be personal growth, it could be, you know, motivational growth. Um, one of the biggest zombies I have to really face is putting myself out there. You know,
Mm.
I love people and I'm great at it, but I feel it comes down to I don't want to be judged. And judgment is a big zombie in my room that I am continually overcoming because I think it would be really easy to be I'm an introvert, be in my little
Mhm.
shell, and that's not where I can play.
Well, you know what? Again, that is, I appreciate the honesty there. And that is a huge zombie. By the way, 80% of the people, I am not an introvert. Okay. I'm an extrovert, but my wife is an introvert. And I can tell you, doesn't mean that you're not able to get out. In fact, she's built several network marketing businesses in conjunction with helping companies build them. You know, she's a marketer, you know, done a lot of that stuff. Right. But that being said, your default position isn't to get out there. The other thing is you mentioned you don't want to be judged. It's really a fear of failure, but a fear of somebody saying no. And again, that zombie mindset of getting in your head, as I say, and imagining the worst case when in fact it's really how can you serve. I mean, I know you have it, you've been successful in that. You've found ways to either serve your clients and or people that you're trying to help build their own network marketing business, right? That's the
Mhm.
mindset. When you show up, the fear of rejection or the fear of judgment kind of goes away when it's all about you. See, I show up on this podcast, it's all about you. All I care
Mhm.
about is promoting you. So it's not, I don't have that fear or that, you know, what I call mind trash to to hold me back. So what else? What other things are we getting to today, or you want to talk about what you're doing today, or you or any other significant zombies that you've overcome?
Those are the significant ones. You know, those are the ones that we hold ourselves back with, our internal zombies. You know, there's external zombies, and I really go with the flow and say, you know, things happen like they're supposed to. Doors close, others open. You know, I could have sat there when my corporate job ended and said, woe is me. I was more concerned about my team who was also laid off. But, you know, I just said, you know, I'm going to make the best of it. I was getting on a plane to go to Hawaii the next day, but that's that was planned already.
Well, I run my life by what I call divine appointment.
Hmm.
And so, and I started that 6 months after I retired because I didn't even understand what retirement was. Because I'm old enough that I was raised. And by the way, a lot of people still think of retirement as doing nothing or just being on vacation. I have 5 kids, 4 of them were still at home. And when I retired, I thought, okay, I'm just going to hang out with my kids. We took a family vote. This is what it is. Here's the risk. Here's the return, all this stuff, right? We go through this. And then I said, okay. Then, as I said, God laughs. We have a plan. God laughs. And things worked out okay, but it is not without challenges. And the biggest one you hit on is the mindset, is really realizing that doing right and doing good for other people is really the focus going forward. And, you know, the universe, God, however you want to characterize it, will bring the return on that investment as you go forward. And that's the way I consider my time, as an investment. Well, let's do this. I want to take a quick break because I want to come back and I want to talk about why you're doing what you're doing today. We've got a little insight there because of some of the changes and the decisions you've made. But then I want to talk about, what kind of value you hope to provide, and if anything were possible, what kind of impact. So let's come take a quick break, hear a little more of our theme song for the audio audience. It's Not the Getting There by Ricky Jean Wright. And we'll be right back with Sheri Dumond and Warrior versus Zombie. All right, Sheri. So we have a lot of alignment there. I can see that. Our journeys we've learned a lot of the same things, but you've learned some things that I had forgotten and or maybe didn't learn the same way. But tell me, why are you doing what you're doing today?
I'm doing what I'm doing today because I know that network marketing is a very successful business for people, but they have to know how to run it like a business. I appeal to corporate women or women who have professional jobs, whatever that could be. I wasn't a stay-at-home mom, so I can't really relate to that, but I know what corporate women bring to network marketing, and they do treat it like a business, but how to go about it, and how to run that business, there is not a lot of training out there to do it other than show up on social media, which, don't get me wrong, social media is very important, but it's not your end all be all. And so, how can I serve more women to help them have this successful business? So, because really network marketing, there is no glass ceiling. The sky's the limit. There is no one saying that you can't be at the top of where you want to be in your rankings and what you want to achieve. You're the only one that stands in your way. So my whole philosophy has always been, if I want to be, to my next level, how am I going to get there? And what tools do I need to get there? And I feel like I'm the tool to get those women to their next level. And I'm the coach and strategist for them. And that's the first thing we do, is go about getting their strategy of what they want to achieve and how can we get them there in an accelerated time manner.
Yeah, it's easy because one of the things is, and by the way, let's just talk about social media. First of all, we're on a social business platform, and frankly, social media is like all media. Nobody trusts media today. Everything looks good in a sales brochure. You can put it out there. So the reality of it is, if you're relying on social or digital marketing or any of those kinds of things, whether some small percentages of people ultimately become inspired or sustainably inspired for a long period of time. So it's easy to get discouraged. So having a coach like yourself that's been there, done that, and kind of knows how to navigate that and help people through that is a beautiful thing. So tell me, it's kind of obvious, but as you look at what you're providing to your clients today, to the world around you, really, it's not just clients, it's the people that come into your life. I can see some really unique value that you provide. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the value I provide is, I not only hold you accountable, but we build a plan, we get you to that next level, keep you consistent. A lot of my clients roll their eyes at me because I like role playing. I get a million scripts from my company to say, this is what you say when you do this and this and this. Well, that's all great, but it has to be from my heart or it's not going to come out. So, role playing and getting it into their own words and not just a script is really important to me. And then, actually embracing and leveling them up to believe that they can do this. I'm lucky enough to have a coach that believes that I can be all I can be. When I got when I got divorced from my company and I went to her, she was like, okay, this is your game plan. This is what you can do. It was a relief to say I had a game plan and I knew that my network marketing alone could do it. But I don't want to stay in that bubble. I want to share that with other people because I don't think enough people out there get what they need to make this a successful business. I spent the last 4 years before this company with another company, and I made maybe $500 that whole time. And I was constantly putting my time into it, and it wasn't making money.
Well, that is really powerful. And I'm not sure why I'm getting this feedback, but all I could say is that learning those kinds of things for the people you're mentoring and coaching, right? That they can't just show up, that there are things that they have to overcome, and realizing that leadership is all about, and you're going to get this, is about leading and being in front of or worry or showing things, basically modeling, call it duplication in a lot of businesses, but it's basically doing things in a way and helping people do what you're doing, right? It's leading, whether you're in a corporation or in a network marketing organization. The problem is, as we talked about, it's easy to get in. Not everybody is used to trying to be the person, the Sherpa on the path, the person ahead, mirroring. You have to learn those things first, realize that there are things that do work. There is a system, if you will. You mentioned scripts and those kinds of things. That's the beginning of the system, but it's kind of like all this talk on AI right now, Chat GPT, whatever. You still have to filter it through your own brain cells, and you have to bring it back through your own heart if it's going to come out of you or come out of your influence in a way that's going to matter. And I think that's one of the things that still requires our human intent. So tell me, if anything were possible, and as I always say, everything is possible, what kind of impact are you hoping to have now on this part of your journey forward?
I'm planning to have a big impact, not only on the lives of many, many women. I have goals in my own network marketing business as well. So, those goals are I have one thing that I am set on, and I have my vision board over there, and it's the center of my vision board, and it's me in my new company, SUV. So that is what I'm holding very closely to my heart there. For my business, I want it to be a comfortable, inspiring place for women and have them feel empowered to run their businesses. And if they want to have that choice of leaving corporate, which many women do because there's still a glass ceiling, this would be a great option for them. It's a low-cost business to get in, and you can actually make it your bread and butter, and that's really, if anything was possible, I would want every woman to actually look at this, because it is a business. You hit this on the nail on the head. It is a business opportunity, and do you want to take that business and run with it? Or nothing wrong with worker bees. I'm just not a worker bee. I've always been a leader. So that's what I would inspire.
Yes, it's really the whole the fundamental thing here, and whether it's a company vehicle or whether it's more time with your family, whether it's vacations, regardless of what your ideal day looks like and what it contains. I'm not a big stuff person at this point in my life, so things like the stuff, the cars, the houses, those kinds of things don't really inspire me that much. I've had them. They were fun while you have them, right? And they're fun even now, but that doesn't mean that's what it is. All about relationships. I love the relationships, for example, that come out of my networking, my warrior networking community. And I'm sure you love those as well with your warrior, confident warrior consulting and your teams. It's great to be able to know that you're serving your community. And I think that underlying impact is what I think all of us are striving to achieve. It's just sometimes our mind, we don't believe we can, right?
Yeah.
So, but you can. And I can just say that anybody listening to this podcast and listening to Sheri talk, she would tell you the same thing. We both would tell you the same thing. So anything else before we take another quick break and come back to the land the plane segment?
No, I think that's it right now. I think you've hit everything dead on.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you have a quick minute to think as we take a break. And when we come back, I want you to kind of digest in your own mind and share with the audience if we take away anything from this discussion, either your story or why you're doing what you're doing today. What would you want us to take away? So let's take another quick break here. The next to the last snippet of It's Not the Getting There by Ricky Jean Wright. And we'll be right back with Sheri Dumond and Warrior versus Zombie. All right, Sheri. Fascinating discussion. There's so much we could talk about, so many things. I'm looking forward to the journey ahead. I don't know where the Lord will lead us here, but I think that there's a lot of potential synergy going forward. And I know that a lot of the warriors are going to want to follow up with you as they hear this podcast. So tell me, if we take away anything from this discussion, this podcast, what would you want us to take away?
Well, if you want to grow in your business, in your network marketing business, I can help you get to that next level on an accelerated pace. And so you won't have to deal with those zombies that come in from corporate or from wherever, because we all know that it could happen anytime. So you can reach me. The easiest place to find me is on Facebook. It's Sheri Dumond. It's Sheri, and Dumond. I am on Facebook, and that's probably the easiest way to find me.
Well, that's beautiful, and that makes it easy. And we will definitely do that. Any other links that you might have, we'll put in the show notes of the podcast. And obviously, you're on the Be Connected platform. Mm-hmm. And if you're out there networking, like I am, I have a network community. I have probably 1 million connections across all the platforms. So it's really about aligning with the people that you have. So if you like what you're hearing from Sheri, I would encourage you both to get on the Be Connected platform because it's free. This will be up in replay mode, as well as it'll be on all of the audio podcasting platforms. And you should be able to find Sheri there. You don't have to fly to Oregon yet to do that. So no, we do everything in a virtual world. I love doing this face-to-face, one-to-one social business. Again, we're not trying to blast out to the world, get our message. Business is built on trust. Mm-hmm. And trust occurs. I love being in person because I'm an extrovert, but this is the second best thing, is I can do this virtually and begin a journey of a relationship with people. Well, Sheri, it's been awesome. I really, really appreciate you sharing with the audience.
Thank you, David. I appreciate you for having me.
All right. Well, we're going to have a lot of fun going forward. And so with that, we're going to have to land the plane for this episode of Warrior versus Zombie. We'll be back next Friday with another episode, another warrior. And now let's hear the outro of It's Not the Getting There by Ricky Jean Wright on the audio audience. And we'll be back next week with another warrior guest on Warrior versus Zombie.